Good morning, dear students. Let's start our next topic, public facilities of chapter 1, development. Till now we have studied about the introduction of this chapter, then what the development promises different people, different goals. Next, we have studied about the income and other criterias of goals. Now, then national incomes or national development of our country. Then, how to compare different countries or states. Average income of a per person in our country. Then, income and other criterias. We have seen the three different state-wise per capita income chart. Now, we shall start the public facilities. Now, what do you mean by public facility over here? In our country, the government is provided you some facilities, that is known as public facilities. Likewise, the reason is money in your pocket cannot buy all the goods and services that you may need to live well. So, the income by itself is not a completely adequate indicator of material goods or services. For example, normally your money cannot buy you pollution free environment or ensure that you get unadulterated medicines unless you can afford to shift to a community that already had all these things. Now, money may also not be used or able to protect you from infectious diseases, just like unless the whole of your community takes preventive steps. So, these types of health facilities were given by the government. Why the government is giving you? Because they are taking a tax from us, and from that money itself they were using that money in our development. You can see some students in the classroom. Now, actually for many of the important things in life, the best way also is the cheapest way. Got it? Now, just think, will be it cheaper to have collective security for a whole locality or your each of the house to have its own security man? It is not possible to have a security man in all the houses of a colony. So, what if no one other than you in your village or locality is interested in studying? सेम एज इन स्टडिंग, अगर आपको या आपके फैमिली मेम्बर्स को या और किसी भी स्टूडेंट्स को क्लास के अगर पढ़ना अच्छा ना लगे तो व्हाट विल बी हैपन? देन वुड यू बी एबल टू स्टडी? Not unless your parents could afford to send you to some private schools or elsewhere. In the locality or in your village, if there is no school or no English medium school is there, then what do your family members or parents will do? They will send you somewhere else in the city or in a boarding school. So, you are actually able to study because many other children want to study, and because many people believe that the government should open the schools and provide you the school facilities of the learning capacity for the children. Same as the government had provided you many adequate facilities like public transport, then schools, hospitals and many more things. Now, if we are taking the example of Kerala has low infant mortality rate because it has adequate provisions of the basic health education facilities. Similar in other some states, public distribution of these. For example, let's work these out. First one, look at this table 1.3 in your book or the PDF. Now, according to that table 1.3 and 1.4, The Maharashtra is headed here. Maharashtra headed of Kerala in literacy rate, as it is in the term of per capita income. Now another, think of other examples where collective provisions of goods were goods and services in cheaper than individual provision. Now third one, does the availability of good health and education facilities depend on amount of money spent by the government on these facilities? What other factors to be relevant? Next, last one, in Tamil Nadu, 90% of people living in rural areas also using a ration card or ration shop, whereas in West Bengal only 35% of rural people will do the same for the ration card holder. Now, where would people be better off and why? You have to think these all 4 questions and tell me. Now, the second activity is, your educational achievement of rural population of Uttar Pradesh. You can see over here the literacy rate of rural population. Rural population means which population? The village people. Now male 76% male have are literate people in Uttar Pradesh, whereas 54% of female were literate one. Now literacy rate of rural children or village children in age group of 10 to 14, which is a compulsory according to our government, is 90% for male and 87% for female. A percentage of rural children age of 10 to 14 attending the proper school is 85 and 82% in male and female positions. Now, the question is, fill-ups are, the literacy rate of all age group including young and old is, young and old, सबके लिए literacy rate क्या है? Is approx 76%. Got it? Now, for rural males and for females, rural females 54%. However, it is not just these, many schools or many adults could not attend the school, but there are dash persons who currently not in school. Now, how many percent students were not there in school? Approx 30 to 35% students were not there in the school or not getting the education. Now, it is clear from this above table that dash percent of girls means 87% of girls and 13% of girls and 10% of boys are not attending the school. Now, therefore, literacy rate of illiteracy among the children in age group of 10 to 14% is high as 85% for 82% for females and 85% for males. Now, the high level of illiteracy among the age group is age group 10 to 14 years. Even after more than 68 years of our independence, they are not getting the proper education facilities in their rural area or village area. Now, after that, our third activity, you can do the third activity. Think about that. One way to find out if adults are undernourished is to calculate what nutrition scientists call body mass index, BMI, the calculation of body nutrition value in our body. This is an easy to calculate. Take the weight of a person in a per kilogram, then what you have to do? Then take the height, measurement of height, divide the weight by the square of the height. If this figure is less than 18.5%, then the person would be considered as undernourished, means they are not having the nutrition value properly. Got it? Now, by this you can calculate the BMI of a per person body balance. Now, a student BMI could be within the normal range or less than that underweight. That means they are the underweight who are having the normal or the less than of that. Now, more than if the BMI rate is more than that, then more than 18.5, then it would be said as obesity. Now, for example, if a girl student is having a 14 years and the month 8 months old, then the BMI is 15.2, then she is undernourished. Similarly, if the BMI of a boy is age 15 years and 6 months is having the 28 kilogram, then he is a overweight boy. Now, discuss the life situation, food and exercise habits of the students in journal without the body shaming anyone. Have you discussed or have you seen in your class also? There were some different kinds of people who are having the different body weight. Got it? Now that is known as body mass index. Now human development report, according to that, once it is realized that even through the level of income of important. Now yet it is an inadequate measure of the level of the development. Same as if we begin to think of these type of criteria, there could be a long list such criterion, but it would be not so be useful. What we need is a small number of most important thing is first one health, then the education indicator. These two are the more important or the most important thing of public facilities given by the government. Okay, some examples were given over here of state Maharashtra and Kerala. Now, some data according to the India and its neighbors for 2017. Now, it was divided as country, the gross national income per person capital income of a whole year. Now, life expectancy at birth, how the birth rate will expected, and then mean years of schooling of people age 25 and above. How much percent of students can get the schooling or the above schooling at the age of 25? Then HDI rank in the world. HDI means Human Development Index. Got it? Now, according to Sri Lanka, the different rates were there. India, Myanmar, Pakistan, Nepal and Bangladesh, where you can see India is having the 6,353 rupees as per person income in 2011. Now, life expectancy at birth, how much the birth rate will increase? 68.8%. Now, meaning of a school, how much person or how much category of person can get the schooling after the age of 25? Only 6.4% out of 100. Now, HDI rank, Human Development Index, 130% is there. Got it? Now, it is not surprising that a small country in our neighbor like Sri Lanka is much ahead of India in every respect, or a big country like ours has such a low rank in the world, as we can see in that figure. Bangladesh have low per capita income than that of India, yet they are better than India in life expectancy. Got it? From here you can see. Now, many improvements have been suggested in calculating of human development, and many new components have been added to human development report, but by prefixing human development, it has made it very clear that what is important in development of what is happening to the citizen of our country. It is the people only who is there for getting their health, their well-being, that is most important. Do you think there are certain other aspects also that should be considered in measuring the human development? Yes, it is there, that is known as sustainability of development. How the sustain means how the development would be in a growing process. Now suppose for the present that a particular country is quite developed, a developed country, we would certainly like this level of development to go further or at least be maintained for the future generation. This is obviously desirable. However, since the second half of the 20th century, a number of scientists have been warning that present type of or the level of or the development of our country is not a sustainable. Means we have not inherited the world from our forefathers. हमको अब हमारी जो अभी सोसाइटी मिली है, ये कंट्री मिली है, ऐसी नहीं थी पहले जैसे हमको अपने एंसेस्टर्स के थ्रू मिली थी, फोरफादर्स के. वी हैव बोरोड इट फ्रॉम देम, and now whatever we are using at a current, we will pass out to our children, which is not good. Example of here, the groundwater level of India is going decreased and decrease. It as we know that ground level is an example of renewable resources, ground level water. These resources are replenished by the nature as in the case of crops and plants. However, even these resources may be overused. In many cases it was overused, though it is a renewable resources, but we do not have to overuse that resources, otherwise it will be counted as non-renewable resources for after few years. The second example of exhaustion of natural resources is given. It is not a method of sustainable development, it is a exhaustions of natural resources. The crude oil resources in the Middle East, in the United States and over the world, we can find the oil reserves in our ground level, ground land area. Now if you will see that index, you can find out some statistical review of world according to June 14. Now according to this also you can easily understand that our development, the sustainable development is very good, but we are accessing or exhausting the natural resources. Now consequence of environmental degradation do not respect national or state boundaries. This issue is no longer region or nation specific. Our future is linked together, as well as our children's future is also linked together, and we have to do a sustainability of development in a new area of knowledge in which scientists, economists or a philosopher and other social activists also are working together. In general, the question of development progress is perennial at all the time. As a member of society, you have to do what society, and as individual we need to ask where we want to go, what we wish to become and what are our goals, so that debate on development continues. Now this was the chapter development, in which we have seen that how our government is working on development of our country, as well as how the per capita income of per person of country was in increasing order in comparison with other states, other countries, neighboring countries, as well as what the public facilities was given by the government. The chapter is over. You clear? The chapter was over.